What's good, Vikings Nation? SKOL. Buckle up, because today we're diving into the swirling rumors about Aaron Rodgers and our Minnesota Vikings. You've probably heard the buzz. Some folks think the four-time MVP is holding out for a shot with us. But is there any truth to it? Or is this just another NFL offseason soap opera? Let's break it down with the latest Vikings news, separate fact from fiction, and talk about what this means for our squad. Are you ready to unpack this drama? Let's go. First off, the rumor mill's been churning hard. Jeremy Fowler dropped a bomb on the Dan Patrick Show, saying some NFL teams think Rodgers might be waiting out the Vikings, eyeing Kevin O'Connell's play-calling genius and those Sweet Nine Dome games at US Bank Stadium. I mean, who wouldn't want to sling passes in that electric atmosphere? But hold up, before we get carried away, let's pump the brakes and look at what's really going on with our team. Here's the deal. The Vikings are all in on J.J. McCarthy, our rookie QB drafted to lead the future. Sources close to the team, as reported by ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, confirm Minnesota's not chasing Rodgers. So why's this rumor even a thing? Stick with me as we dig into the details, explore what's driving this chatter, and figure out what's next for our Vikings. Drop a comment below. Do you think Rodgers would even fit with our squad? Let's set the stage, Vikings fans. The Aaron Rodgers saga has been a wild ride this offseason. Posts on X, like one from @Blitz_Berg on March 11, 2025, claimed Rodgers was choosing between the Steelers and Giants with the Vikings out of the race. Yet, whispers persist that he's holding out hope for Minnesota. Why? Maybe it's the allure of playing under Kevin O'Connell, whose offensive schemes turned Kirk Cousins into a fan favorite. But let's get real, Rodgers to the Vikings sounds like a fantasy football pipe dream. The Vikings front office, led by Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, has made it crystal clear J.J. McCarthy is the guy. A March 14, 2025, post from @JFowlerESPN on X noted a Vikings source saying they're committed to McCarthy, with Rodgers being a long shot. That's the kind of focus we love to see in Vikings news, right? Building for the future, not chasing aging stars. So what's fueling this rumor? Could it be Rodgers' camp floating ideas to keep his name hot? Or are other teams just misreading the tea leaves? I want to hear your take. Hit the comments and tell me if you think Rodgers is just playing games, or if there's something we're missing here. Alright, let's talk about J.J. McCarthy, the heart of this story. Our rookie QB, drafted 10th overall in 2024, is the cornerstone of the Vikings' long-term plan. He's been lighting up OTAs with his arm strength and poise, showing why the team's betting big on him. Vikings news outlets like Vikings.com report he's already building chemistry with Justin Jefferson. Can you imagine those deep balls in 2025? Now, compare that to Rodgers. Sure, he's a four-time MVP with a rocket arm, but at 41, he's not getting any younger. A March 19, 2025, X post from @The Pony Express quoted NFL Network's Tom Pelissero saying the Vikings are out on Rodgers, focusing on McCarthy. That's the smart move. Why gamble on a short-term fix when you've got a young stud ready to grow with this roster? Here's the kicker. Rodgers might be waiting to see how McCarthy performs, but the Vikings aren't waiting for him. This team's got a vision, and it's all about youth and hunger. What do you think? Should we stick with McCarthy's potential or dream about Rodgers' veteran magic? Let's hear it in the comments. Let's zoom out and look at the NFL landscape. Rodgers has been linked to teams like the Steelers and Giants, with X posts like @Steelers Depots from March 11, 2025, saying Pittsburgh's in the driver's seat. But some teams still think he's got one eye on Minnesota. Why? Kevin O'Connell's offense is a QB's dream. Think 4,000 plus passing yards and a scheme that maximizes playmakers like Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson. But here's the cold, hard truth. The Vikings don't need Rodgers. Our defense, revamped under Brian Flores, ranked top 10 in points allowed last season, per Vikings.com. Pair that with an offense that's only getting better, and McCarthy's got all the tools to succeed. Why disrupt that for a guy who might retire next year? It's a no-brainer, right? Still, the Rodgers rumor keeps fans buzzing. Is it just off-season hype, or could there be a tiny chance he ends up in purple? I'm leaning toward hype, but I want your thoughts. Drop a comment and tell me if you think there's any shot Rodgers wears a Vikings jersey. Let's talk about Kevin O'Connell for a sec. This guy's a genius, and it's no wonder Rodgers might be tempted. In 2024, O'Connell's play calling helped the Vikings rank 8th in offensive yards, according to NFL.com. His ability to scheme open receivers and create big plays is exactly what a QB like Rodgers craves. But here's the thing, McCarthy's already learning that system. Imagine McCarthy in year 2, running O'Connell's offense with Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson. That's a nightmare for defenses. A post from Pat McAfee Show on April 4, 2025, quoted Ian Rappaport saying the Vikings are all in on J.J. McCarthy. That's the kind of commitment that gets me pumped as a Vikings fan. We're building something special here. So why's Rodgers' name still floating around? Maybe it's because he's a master at keeping himself relevant. But let's focus on what matters, our team, our future. What's your vibe on O'Connell's offense? Think it's tailor-made for McCarthy? Hit the comments and let's talk. Alright, let's address the elephant in the room. Rodgers' age and durability. The guy's 41, coming off an Achilles injury in 2023. Sure, he bounced back with the Jets, throwing for over 3,500 yards last season, per ESPN. But can he handle a full season in the NFC North meat grinder? That's a big question mark for any team chasing him. Meanwhile, McCarthy's young, hungry, and built for the long haul. Vikings news reports from Vikings.com highlight his work ethic and leadership at OTAs. He's not just a placeholder, he's the future. Why would we trade that for a 1- or 2-year rental like Rodgers? It doesn't add up, Vikings Nation. Here's where it gets juicy. Some say Rodgers is waiting to see if McCarthy stumbles. But with O'Connell's coaching and our stacked roster, I'm betting on JJ. What about you? Would you take a chance on Rodgers' experience? Or are you all in on McCarthy's upside? Drop your thoughts below. Let's dive into the Steelers' angle, since they're the other team in this Rodgers saga. A March 10, 2025, post from @Jerigilac said Pittsburgh's in talks with Rodgers, but no deal's imminent. Sounds like they're desperate for a QB, especially after Russell Wilson's up-and-down 2024. But if Rodgers is waiting on the Vikings, why's he dragging his feet with Pittsburgh? Here's my take. Rodgers loves the spotlight. By keeping his options open, he's got the NFL world hanging on his every move. But the Vikings? We're not playing that game. Our focus is on McCarthy, who's already turning heads with his accuracy and decision-making, per Vikings.com's OTA updates. That's the kind of QB we need, someone who's all about the team. So what's the deal with Pittsburgh? Are they Rodgers' fallback, or is he just using them to stir the pot? I'm curious what you think. Comment below and tell me if you believe Rodgers is serious about the Steelers or just keeping us all guessing. Let's talk fan perspective because Vikings Nation is the heartbeat of this team. Social media's been wild, with posts like at the Pony Express on May 15, 2025, calling the Rodgers to Steelers saga a gong show. Some fans think Rodgers is stringing teams along, while others dream of him in purple. But let's be real, our fan base wants a QB who bleeds purple and gold. McCarthy's that guy. He's young, he's got swagger, and he's embracing Minnesota like it's home. Vikings news outlets report fans chanting SKOL at OTAs when JJ hits a deep pass. That's the energy we need. Rodgers might bring headlines, but McCarthy brings hope. What's your take? Do you want the drama of Rodgers or the promise of JJ? Here's a question for you. If Rodgers somehow landed with the Vikings, would you cheer him on? Or would you rather see McCarthy take the reins? Hit the comments and let's get this debate going. SKOL. Alright, let's wrap this up with a look at the big picture. The Vikings are building a contender, with a top-tier coach, a dynamic offense, and a defense that's only getting better. Adding Rodgers could shake things up, but it's a risky move when we've got McCarthy ready to roll. The latest Vikings news from Vikings.com shows the team's focused on continuity and growth, not short-term splashes. The Rodgers rumor is fun to talk about, but it's looking like hot air. Posts from March and April 2025, like at Pat McAfee shows, confirm the Vikings are moving forward with McCarthy. That's the right call for a team with playoff aspirations and a fan base hungry for a Super Bowl. Don't you agree? So what's next for our Vikings? OTAs are heating up, and McCarthy's showing he's the real deal. Are you as hyped as I am for this season? Drop a comment with your predictions for 2025. Will McCarthy lead us to the playoffs? Let's keep the SKOL spirit alive. Vikings Nation. This is why we love this team. The passion, the drama, the hope. The Rodgers rumor might be fading, but our excitement for the Minnesota Vikings is only growing. With J.J. McCarthy at the helm and Kevin O'Connell calling the shots, 2025 could be our year. So, let's keep the faith and show the NFL what Vikings fans are made of. Before I sign off, I need your help. Smash that like button if you're all in on McCarthy. Drop a comment with your thoughts on the Rodgers saga, and subscribe to the channel for more Vikings news and updates. Share this video with your fellow fans. Let's spread the SKOL love far and wide. SKOL Vikings. Let's make some noise this season. Who's with me? Comment below, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's go get that Super Bowl.